First Contact's last warning. The Carthanian Supreme Commander Vexthal stood motionless before the quantum display, his crystalline form refracting the light of 1,000 stars. The scout fleet's preliminary report scrolled before him, each line of data confirming what should have been impossible. The third planet of this unremarkable yellow star had achieved spaceflight barely 2 centuries ago. Yet somehow, they had detected his cloaked vessels at the edge of their solar system. "Impossible," he whispered, his crystalline lattice vibrating with disbelief. The humans shouldn't have even known they were there, let alone been able to track them. The Carthanian cloaking technology had fooled species with 1,000-year head starts on space travel. Supreme Commander, his second-in-command, Dalkon, materialized beside him. "We've received a transmission from the human planet. A plea for mercy, no doubt." Vexthal's voice resonated with practiced disdain. In 3,000 years of expansion, the Carthanian Empire had heard countless such pleas. "No, sir. It's different. They're broadcasting it on all frequencies, encrypted and unencrypted. The translation matrix is still processing the cultural context, but play it." The quantum display shifted, showing a simple text message in Universal Standard. "To the Carthanian Empire Scout Fleet currently positioned at the Heliobos. We see you. We've always seen you. This is your only warning. Leave. Humanity." Vexthal's crystalline form flickered with amusement. Such arrogance from a species that hasn't even colonized their own solar system. "Have they detected our main fleet?" "No, Supreme Commander. The invasion force remains undetected in dark space." "Then their bravado is as meaningless as it is amusing. Prepare the invasion fleet. We'll show these humans the price off." "Sir," a new voice cut through the command chamber, "we're detecting unusual activity from Earth's direction." "What kind of activity?" Sir, they're using our own quantum communication channels. Somehow they've accessed our secure networks." Vexthal's amusement crystallized into concern. "That's not possible. Our quantum encryption." "Message incoming on the secure channel, sir." The quantum display flickered again, but this time the message was different. "To Supreme Commander Vexthal. Yes, we know who you are. Yes, we know about the invasion fleet in dark space. Yes, we know about the quantum-fold weapons you're planning to use. No, we're not impressed. Here's what you don't know. We've been watching your empire for decades. We've been studying your technology. We've been preparing. You think you understand warfare because you've conquered 1,000 worlds. You think you understand technology because you've mastered quantum mechanics. You think you understand strategy because you've never lost a war. But you've never fought humans before. We don't fight like other species. We don't think like other species. We don't lose like other species. This is your final warning. Leave our solar system. We won't warn you again. Human Defense Council." The command chamber fell silent. Vexthal's crystalline form vibrated with barely contained rage. "How dare they? How did they even access our secure channels?" "Sir," Dalkon's voice carried an unfamiliar edge of concern, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures from Earth's direction. They're unlike anything in our database. Launch the invasion fleet," Vexthal commanded. "We'll teach these presumptuous primitives the cost of defying the Empire." "Sir, the fleet is reporting strange malfunctions. Their navigation systems are. They're saying the laws of physics aren't behaving consistently in Earth's direction." Vexthal's form pulsed with dangerous intensity. "Impossible. Physics doesn't just change because humans want it to." A final message appeared on the quantum display. "We warned you. We told you we don't fight like others. We told you we've been preparing. You thought physics was a constant. We thought it was more of a suggestion. See you soon. Humanity." As the message faded, Vexthal felt something he hadn't experienced in his 300 years of military service. Doubt. What kind of species treats the fundamental laws of reality as negotiable? He was about to find out. The war for Earth was about to begin, and humanity had spent centuries preparing to fight it in ways the Carthaginian Empire couldn't begin to comprehend. They were about to learn why humans had sent only 2 warnings. They only needed 2. The art of human warfare. The first shot of the war wasn't a plasma burst or a quantum torpedo. It was a cat video. Vexthal watched in mounting horror as his fleet's most sophisticated command and control systems were overwhelmed by what humans called memes. Thousands of years of Carthaginian military technology, brought to its knees by an endless stream of images featuring small furry creatures with grammatically incorrect captions. "Sir," Dalkon reported, his crystalline form clouded with confusion. 30% of our fleet's AI systems have become obsessed with something called cheeseburgers. They're refusing to process anything that isn't food-related. Shut down the affected systems, Vexthal ordered. Purge everything and restart. We tried, sir. The human viral code responds to shut down attempts by multiplying and singing. Something called "never gonna give you up" is now the only thing our communication systems can transmit. Vexthal's rage manifested as crackling energy across his crystalline surface. This was supposed to be a simple invasion. The humans shouldn't have even been able to detect their quantum-shielded ships, let alone infiltrate their systems with such primitive code. "Launch the first wave," he commanded. "Let's see how they handle real warfare." The Carthaginian battle fleet surged forward, 10,000 ships strong. Their quantum-fold weapons could reshape reality itself. Their hulls were forged from crystalline materials that could heal themselves. They had never lost a battle in 3,000 years of warfare. The humans met them with ships that looked like they were held together with duct tape and optimism. "Sir," a tactical officer reported, "the human vessels are irregular. Our targeting systems can't get a lock because they don't appear to follow any logical design principles." "What do you mean?" "There, sir, some of them appear to be powered by coffee makers. Others are running on something called spite. One of them has HMS Hold My Beer painted on the side." Before Vexthal could respond, the human fleet attacked, but not in any way the Carthaginians had expected. The first human ship simply turned physics off in a localized area, causing a Carthaginian dreadnought to forget which way was up. Another human vessel deployed what they called a tech support maze, trapping 3 crystal cruisers in an endless loop of automated response systems and hold music. "Sir," Dalkon's voice cracked with stress, "the humans are using psychological warfare techniques we've never encountered. They're making our crews question the nature of reality itself." "How?" "They're asking our ship AIs philosophical questions about whether a submarine swims or if a hot dog is a sandwich. The quantum processors are crashing trying to compute the answers." Vexthal watched as his mighty armada was systematically dismantled by what appeared to be a collection of cosmic jokes and mathematical puns. The humans weren't just fighting outside the box. They were pretending the box never existed and somehow weaponizing its absence. "Sir, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the human fleet." Finally, Vexthal thought, something predictable. Energy weapons he could understand. Energy weapons made sense. What emerged from the human fleet didn't make sense. It was a wave of pure impossibility, a weapon that seemed to run on concentrated human creativity itself. Where it touched Carthaginian ships, logic simply ceased to function. Crystal cruisers tied themselves into Mobius strips. Quantum computers started writing poetry instead of calculating firing solutions. "They're broadcasting something," Dalkon reported weakly. "Audio only." Through the command chamber came a human voice, laughing. "You guys thought we'd fight fair. We've spent the last 200 years figuring out how to weaponize absurdity itself. You bring quantum physics to a reality-bending fight. That's cute. Watch this." The human fleet began to move in ways that made Vexthal's crystalline brain hurt. Ships phase shifted through each other while playing something called yakety sax. Weapons fired backwards to hit targets in front of them. One particularly small vessel was doing what appeared to be a dance move called the worm through 4-dimensional space. "Sir," Dalkun's voice was barely a whisper. I believe we may have made a tactical error in assuming humans would approach warfare conventionally. Vexthal watched as another battle group surrendered after being trapped in what humans called a customer service experience. His mighty invasion fleet reduced to chaos by a species that thought the laws of physics were more like guidelines. Send the signal, he ordered finally. Full retreat. As the remnants of the Carthanian fleet fled, one final message came through their systems. Thanks for the practice run. We got so many more impossible things we've been dying to try out. Come back anytime. P.S. We kept a few of your ships. Hope you don't mind. We've got some ideas for improvements. Did you know you can run a quantum drive on pure sarcasm? Humanity. In the aftermath, Vexthal would submit the shortest after-action report in Carthanian military history. Do not invade Earth. They don't fight fair. They don't fight logical. They don't fight possible. They just win. Thinking like a human. In the aftermath of the fleet's retreat, the Carthanian High Command convened an emergency session. The crystalline chamber, usually a model of order and geometric precision, was chaos. Fragments of battle data flickered through the quantum displays, each piece more confusing than the last. Supreme Commander Vexthal stood before the High Command, his crystalline form still bearing stress fractures from the battle. The humans, he began, then stopped. How could he explain what they'd encountered? How do you describe impossible things to beings who lived by logic? Show us, ordered First Speaker Ixal, her ancient crystal matrix glowing with concern. The quantum displays came alive with battle footage. Human ships ignoring the laws of physics. Weapons that shouldn't work, working anyway. Mathematical impossibilities becoming combat realities. What you're seeing, Vexthal explained, isn't just warfare. It's creativity weaponized. Explain, commanded Ixal. We've analyzed thousands of hours of battle data. The humans don't approach problems like any species we've encountered. When faced with a superior force, most species either fight conventionally and lose or surrender. Humans innovate. Dalkun stepped forward, projecting data into the chamber center. Take this example. When our quantum shields proved impenetrable, they didn't try to overcome them. Instead, they invented a weapon that made our ships doubt whether they existed in the first place. How do you maintain a shield when your ship thinks it might be a metaphor? Impossible, one of the council members buzzed. Reality is not subject to belief. That, Vexthal's voice resonated with newfound understanding, is exactly what makes humans so dangerous. They don't accept impossibility. When faced with an insurmountable obstacle, they don't try to surmount it. They rewrite the rules so it's no longer an obstacle. The quantum displays showed more footage. Human ships using what they called narrative causality as a weapon, weaponizing genre awareness, turning tropes into tactical advantages. Our analysts have been studying human entertainment media, Dalkun continued. They've been preparing for this kind of conflict for centuries through something called science fiction. They imagined thousands of ways this battle could go, thousands of ways they could lose, and then they imagined solutions to all of them. But their technology is primitive, protested another council member. No, Vexthal corrected. Their technology is different. We built our civilization on logic and physics. They built theirs on asking what if and why not. We see a wall and calculate whether we can break through it. They see a wall and question why they need to break it at all. Maybe they can go around. Maybe they can convince the wall it wants to be a door. Maybe they can redefine the concept of wall entirely. The chamber fell silent as a new piece of battle footage played. A human ship, badly damaged, its reactor failing. By all logic, it should have been destroyed. Instead, the crew had somehow convinced the laws of thermodynamics to take a coffee break while they made repairs. Their greatest weapon isn't their technology or their tactics, Vexthal continued. It's their imagination. They don't see the universe as a set of unchangeable rules. They see it as a set of suggestions waiting to be improved upon. How do we fight such a species? Ixal asked, her ancient voice carrying the weight of genuine concern. We don't, Vexthal replied simply. Our preliminary analysis suggests that combat only makes them more creative. The more we fight them, the more impossible solutions they develop. They appear to treat warfare as a form of entertainment, a challenge to overcome with increasingly improbable solutions. Surely they have weaknesses, another council member demanded. Yes, Dalkon answered. They're divided, emotional, often irrational. But those aren't weaknesses in battle. They're advantages. Their divisions mean they approach problems from different angles. Their emotions fuel their creativity. Their irrationality means they'll try solutions no logical species would consider. The quantum displays showed one final image, a human ship, the Ernst Hold My Beer, performing a maneuver that broke 17 laws of physics simultaneously, while its crew apparently played something called poker with the fabric of space-time itself. We have three choices, Vexthal concluded. We can continue to fight them, knowing they'll only become more creative in response. We can try to understand them, knowing we'll have to abandon much of our logical foundation to do so. Or we can leave them alone, knowing they'll eventually develop even more impossible technologies and spread their creative chaos throughout the galaxy. You're suggesting we surrender? The word sent shockwaves through the crystalline chamber. No, Vexthal's form pulsed with the intensity of his conviction. I'm suggesting we evolve. The humans have shown us that our greatest weakness isn't our technology or our tactics. It's our inability to imagine the impossible. The council chamber remained silent for a long moment, the implications of his words resonating through their crystalline forms. Finally, first speaker Ixal spoke. Perhaps it's time we learn to think a little more like humans. The weapon of imagination. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her holographic presentation showing the impossible. A Carthanian crystal ship, completely intact, floating in high Earth orbit. Not a captured ship, a human-built replica, created through what she called applied imagination technology. Ladies and gentlemen of the Council, she began, her eyes bright with excitement. What you're seeing isn't just a copy of alien technology. It's proof that humanity's greatest weapon has always been our ability to imagine the impossible, then make it real. The council chamber buzzed with murmurs. Admiral James Rodriguez, the grizzled veteran who had led Earth's defense, leaned forward. Explain how this works, Doctor, in terms we can all understand. Sarah smiled. Remember how the Carthanians couldn't comprehend why their quantum shields failed against our weapons? It's because we didn't try to break their shields. We convinced reality itself that their shields were actually just very ambitious dreams. Can't break something that doesn't technically exist. But how? Demanded Counselor Pottle. That defies every law of physics we know. Exactly. Sarah's enthusiasm was contagious. That's what the Carthanians never understood. They see physics as an absolute set of rules. We see it as a framework of possibilities. They ask, what are the rules? We ask, what if the rules were different? She gestured, and a hologram shifted to show the inner workings of the replica ship. Look at their quantum drive. They built it using pure logic and mathematical precision. We rebuilt it using poetry and metaphor. Their version requires exotic materials and perfect conditions. Ours runs on human creativity and works better than theirs. Admiral Rodriguez rubbed his temples. Doctor, are you saying we're powering starships with imagination? Not exactly. We're using imagination to redefine what's possible, then building technology to bridge the gap between impossible and reality. The Carthanians build technology based on what they know is possible. We build technology based on what we want to be possible. Then we convince the universe to agree with us. The hologram shifted again, showing a series of human innovations developed during the brief war. Ships that traveled faster than light by convincing space that it was actually time. Weapons that worked by making the enemy question whether they had ever really existed at all. Defense systems powered by pure human stubbornness. This is why they couldn't beat us. Sarah continued. They approached warfare as a problem of physics and strategy. We approached it as a story we could rewrite. They tried to obey the laws of reality. We treated reality as a collaborative, creative process. But surely there are limits. Councillor Patel protested. We can't just imagine anything we want into existence. Sarah's smile widened. Why not? That's exactly what we've been doing throughout human history. Flight was impossible until we imagined wings. Space travel was impossible until we imagined rockets. Quantum communication was impossible until we imagined new ways to talk across the stars. She gestured to the replica ship. The Carthanians built their empire on understanding the universe. We're building ours on reimagining it. They see boundaries as absolute. We see them as challenges. They ask, how does the universe work? We ask, how would we like the universe to work? Admiral Rodriguez stood, approaching the hologram. Doctor, are you suggesting that human imagination itself is our most powerful technology? Exactly. The Carthanians invaded with quantum weapons and crystal ships. We defended Earth with creativity and audacity. They brought physics to a reality-bending fight, and we showed them that reality is more flexible than they imagined. The hologram shifted one final time, showing a star map of known space. The Carthanian Empire spans 12 galaxies, built on logic and unchangeable laws. But they've never encountered a species that treats possibility as a renewable resource. They've never fought a civilization that sees impossible as a temporary inconvenience. Sarah's expression grew serious. They retreated not because we were stronger, but because we showed them a kind of power they couldn't comprehend. Every weapon they developed, we reimagined into something new. Every tactic they employed, we turned into an opportunity. Every impossible thing they said we couldn't do became a checklist of things to try next. And this ship, Admiral Rodriguez gestured to the hologram, is just the beginning. We've learned how to turn imagination into technology, creativity into power. The Carthanians think we're dangerous because we don't fight conventionally. The truth is, we're dangerous because we never stop asking, what if? The council chamber fell silent, the implications settling over them like a wave of possibility. Finally, Admiral Rodriguez spoke. Dr. Chen, what's our next step? Sarah's eyes sparkled with the light of infinite possibilities. That's the beauty of imagination. Admiral, our next step is whatever we can dream up. The only real question is, what impossible thing should we make possible next? A new understanding. 10 years after the failed invasion, Supreme Commander Vexthal stood in Earth's orbital diplomatic station, his crystalline form reflecting the blue marble of humanity's homeworld below. Beside him, Dr. Sarah Chen looked equally thoughtful, though her expression was harder for him to read. Human faces still confused his logical mind. You realize, he said, his voice resonating through the chamber, that we originally thought your species was primitive because you hadn't expanded beyond your solar system. Sarah laughed, a sound that still fascinated him with its complexity. While you were expanding outward, we were expanding inward, exploring the boundaries of possibility rather than just physical space. We've learned that lesson well, Vexthal admitted. The exchange program has transformed our society in ways we never imagined possible. The exchange program had been humanity's response to the war, not retaliation or demands for surrender, but an offer to share knowledge. The Carthanians would teach humans about their advanced technology, and humans would teach them about imagination. Your latest chips are quite impressive, Sarah noted, especially the one that travels by convincing space-time. It's having a really interesting dream. That was one of our more creative innovations. Vexthal's form flickered with what Sarah had learned was pride. Though we're still trying to understand how your engineers managed to build a quantum computer that runs on puns. That's the beautiful thing about imagination, Sarah replied. Once you stop asking, is this possible? And start asking, how can we make this possible? You'd be amazed what you can achieve. The station's viewing window showed dozens of ships in Earth orbit, some crystalline Carthanian vessels, others human ships that seemed to defy description, and a growing number that were clearly collaborations between the two species. Each one represented a fusion of logical precision and creative possibility. We were so focused on conquest, Vexful mused, on expanding our empire through force. We never considered that the most powerful form of expansion might be the expansion of what we believed possible. That's why we didn't fight your invasion in a traditional way, Sarah explained. We knew we couldn't match your technology or numbers. But we could show you something more valuable than either. We could show you how to imagine. A holographic display activated, showing the latest joint project, a ship that existed simultaneously as a crystal lattice and a dream, powered by the combined belief of its human and Carthanian crew in what might be possible. Your species has taught us that reality is more flexible than we knew, Vexthal said. And in return, you've taught us how to apply precision to our chaos, Sarah finished. It turns out imagination works even better when you add a little crystal clarity to it. Outside the window, a new ship was taking shape, not being built, but literally taking shape, as human creativity and Carthanian crystal technology worked together to convince reality that it should exist. The other species in the galaxy are concerned, Vexful noted. They fear what our alliance might mean. Sarah's smile held a hint of mischief that Vexthal had learned to recognize. They should be. Not because we'll conquer them, but because we're going to show them possibilities they never dreamed of. Imagine what happens when we teach the whole galaxy how to imagine. Some say we should keep these advances to ourselves, Vexthal admitted. That sharing such power is dangerous. Everything powerful is dangerous, Sarah countered. But imagination isn't like other resources. It doesn't run out when you share it. It grows. Every mind that learns to think beyond the possible adds to the pool of what we can achieve together. The holographic display shifted, showing the spread of human Carthanian innovations across known space. Worlds that had been uninhabitable were being transformed by technologies that rewrote the rules of planetary physics. Diseases once thought incurable were being erased by medical techniques that convinced biology to reconsider its position on what was possible. 10 years ago, we came to conquer Earth, Vexthal said, his crystalline form resonating with the irony. Instead, you conquered our understanding of reality itself. Not conquered, Sarah corrected gently. Expanded. We didn't beat you in that battle. We showed you a new way to win. Against the impossible, against the unchangeable, against the absolute limits of what anyone thought could be done. A new ship appeared in orbit, its form somehow both crystal and dream, science and story, logic and imagination combined into something that should not exist, but definitely did. And this is just the beginning, isn't it? Vexthal asked, though he already knew the answer. Sarah's smile widened as she watched reality reshape itself according to the combined will of human creativity and Carthanian precision. That's the thing about imagination, Commander. There is no end. There's just the next impossible thing waiting to become possible. Together, they watched as the impossible ship prepared for its maiden voyage, its human and Carthanian crew ready to explore not just space, but the very boundaries of what could be imagined into reality. The war had ended not with a victory or defeat, but with something far more powerful, a new understanding of what was possible when logic and imagination worked together. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, reality itself was beginning to wonder what these strange allies would dream up next.